entire event is recorded, so you'll be able to view this one after as well. We're just getting our live streaming working from the screen. And then I'll pass over to Lucas, who'll be running through the Wi-Fi hacking workshop. We'll have a break for some food that we've ordered, and then we'll go into some competitions where we'll be giving out some prizes as well. If you do need help at any point, just put your hand up and someone will come over to you, or send us a message through the chat and help channel on Discord, and someone will be there to help you. And obviously, yeah, you'll need to unbox the Wi-Fi adapters we've handed around, and we will need those back if you don't win.
So you ready to go right now?
Yeah, go for it.
Yep. Hello, everyone. My name is Lucas McVeigh. I'll be doing the Wi-Fi hacking workshop today. Basically, be about 20 minutes long. Don't try and hack into any neighbours. Rather not see anything on the news saying Flinders cybersecurity student, got arrested. Not a good look. And I guess let's get on with it. What I'll show you first is we got a GitHub link with the instructions. If you want to have a look at another time, should be up there. Yep. So the link up there, it's the Flinders Cybersecurity Society. That way, if you get stuck here, or if you just want to learn some other time, then you got it there for you. So first things first, you're going to need a wireless adapter. Connect that into your laptop. After that, just go to in like a VirtualBox, it's like a VM. Put that into your VirtualBox instance. Then from there, simply just next step, just go essentially check for any processes that are being used for the internet, because you've got to put it into monitor mode, because by default it usually searches for access points for you to connect, but you want to actually inspect the packets in the air itself. Then after that, you start the adapter. In my case, it's WLAN 0 or not. Let me just check something. Yep, that should be there. Sorry about that, got some technical difficulties. I'm just going to restart. Now this should work. Now it says mode is managed, and that's what you want. So that way it is able to go into monitor mode. We do this by going sudo m1ng start WLAN 0. Now it says monitor mode is enabled. And from there, we're going to be looking for, let me just double check. And we're going to be checking the wireless access points in the area. So Flinders has got like over 10. So there's going to be a lot that appears. But that's right, yeah. So you can see here there's a lot of Flinders access points. There's actually multiple of the same. But the one we want is one called Cybersec. That's the one that I've got down there. So it is using the MAC address of B0957555C3B94. And from that, we can probably just be easier for copy and paste it from my own notes. Quicker. Now that we got MAC address and with the channel of 11, put -W to save it to a file called PSK, and we're using the interface WLAN0. And now we'll be looking for connections to the access point. I want to connect my phone to the access point, which should hopefully come up. There we go. Now it comes up here. In hindsight, I realized I should have done it first because it technically captured the handshake, which is not what we want. There we go. And with 2 tabs open, I will copy this command. Essentially what this does is looks into the packets in the air and sends out a whole bunch of de-authentication packets, which would disconnect by phone, and then by default, a lot of phones automatically reconnect. So it will capture the handshake process between them, and then from there we can crack the password. Assuming this works, we should get the handshake process. Or maybe not. I know some wireless adapters can be a bit finicky in terms of packet injection, which definitely is in the case for this one. I have to install a custom driver, so what I'm going to have to do, this is the part of the notes I had up before. Essentially got to install a separate driver because the default one isn't very stable. So I'm going to have to restore this. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm a bit nervous and my first workshop, so yeah, I'm not one for being in front of a crowd. All right. I'm essentially just going to do the same thing again. At least you're getting more practice by watching me multiple times. All right. Probably wants me. Yep. I wonder if that will come up now. Probably not. There we go, actually works. All right. I can actually skip a step because I know exactly what the configuration is. So I'll start this again. Yep, my phone's up there. And then if all goes to plan, there we go. And now we got the authentication handshake. So basically we sent 64 de-authentication packets 10 times. I know with Wi-Fi hacking, at least, yeah, like I said before, with the adapter, it can be a bit finicky and trial and error. I've got a TP-Link, I can't remember the exact model, but it's a Realtek chipset. And those ones like have certain drivers in Kali Linux, not very stable. There's other types like Mediacom, I think it was, and a few others that have better stable drivers by default. And I recommend to get an adapter with those, so that way you don't have to fiddle around as much. Now that we got the packets, essentially what we're going to do is brute force the password. Because I did this multiple times, the file name's changed to number 3, but we're looking at this packet capture file. For this, all we do is, just go and crack. This will essentially just crack the password that it captured, because by default it was essentially encrypted. So in order to decrypt it, you're going to have to brute force the password. Using a password list, I just created one called password list because I created password 1 as the password on the router. Normally, it would take a lot longer because it'd be a more complicated password and you wouldn't know the password ahead of time. But for demonstration purposes, this is pretty good. So from this, I should get the password. And yes, it did, very quickly. Password 1 for that router, all without doing anything with it, just catching the handshake, and yeah, that's it. Any questions? Did I go too fast? Did I miss something?
Just to further enforce what he just went through.
Yep.
Because you will have a whole time to actually ask him about this, because he knows the technical things. I just know the overview of it. So I'll explain it, all right? So what he's done is he's put your Wi-Fi, your LAN card or your wireless LAN card into monitor mode. Okay, so it captures everything. Right, so right now, all your phones are transmitting. You probably don't know, but it's pinging everything. It's pinging my phone, it's pinging everything, all right? So that's what we're doing. We're putting in the things that we distributed into monitor mode. So we're monitoring all that. And we're picking out the router, all right? So he's picked out the router through by grabbing the MAC address, isn't it? That you grabbed from the router? All right, so once you know your target, once you picked out the MAC address of your target, that's when you start attacking it by doing a packet injection. All right, so you connect to that without authenticating and inserting a packet to it so that everyone that is connected to that router or to that wireless router, right, disconnects, right? And once those clients disconnect, they're going to try and reconnect again. This is a normal thing in your router. Your router has a setting to disconnect devices every 7 days. That's the standard, the default setting, right? So you don't know it because you don't reconnect because it's just saved there. But that's the standard. That's when it refreshes the connection. So we're basically simulating that same thing through a packet injection. So the clients will connect back again, right? And during that connection, when that happens, it will transmit the credentials. And that's what you're trying to sniff, right? You're trying to sniff that transmission of credential in a form of a hash. And that's what the hash is that he was talking about. Once you get the hash, you can then run it through a brute force attack or a password cracking attack, like, what did you use?
I use AeroCrack.
AeroCrack or Hashcat or Hydra, whatever you like, and try to then crack the password, right? So the password here, obviously, because for all intents and purposes, it's for a workshop, password 1, but normally it will be something a lot harder. Or in a case of, I wouldn't say the brand, because it's very famous, it's very common, but there's a Wi-Fi router at a lot of people's home who just uses numbers by default as their password. Some of you are laughing because you know this is a very, very big company. But can you imagine that by default, and people don't normally check this or try to change it because they think, oh, I don't want to change it because in case I forget it, I know it's at the bottom of the router. I can change it again, all right? So fatal mistake because it's so easy to crack. You don't even need to look for other characters, just 0 to 9. Up to how many characters? 20 characters. So easy to crack that, okay? So that's what he is doing. That's what everything that he is showing you. That's the process. All right. So just so you sort of internalize what he's sort of explaining, but we will give you time to try to recreate it, try to do it, and then if you have any question, he can definitely answer it. Okay.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you, Jim, for that. You tend to do a better explanation for that sort of thing.
I'm better on the stupid things. He's better on the technical things.
Yeah, the technical explanations, not easy to explain in non-technical terms. So, I guess a couple more things before I finish. There's a couple of ways you can mitigate this. One is using a technology that the IEEE has created called 802.11w. That's the standard name. It uses protected management frames. So it will basically stop I'm not 100% sure the specifics, but it will stop the deauthentication attack from working. Another one is, at least from the password cracking side, use a stronger password. I think another option is to use, at least in the enterprise version, use a radio server. So that way it doesn't communicate directly with the actual wireless router. It goes through a radio server, which actually does the authentication process. And I guess, like I said before, don't try to hack into anything without prior authorization. Not a good look for Flinders, you know. And if you want to get more information, you can Google it if you want. There's tutorials on it. Or you can go to this GitHub link. This is all recorded anyway, so you should be able to access it later on. And yeah, I guess that's it. Any more questions? Yeah?
How many bytes is the hash? Is there a possibility of hash collisions messing with the result?
Far as I know, it depends on what wireless settings you use. It uses AES, at least for my instance, WPA2, so it's very unlikely. However, all the versions like WPA, definitely possible. I know that much. And I think, actually, in WPA3, they completely stopped the deauthentication attacks anyway. So soon this is probably not going to be that, easy to do. Yep. Thank you. Yep.
I was just going to say, you mentioned that the
Oh, yep.
So it's just there if they want to click it.
Oh, that's good. Just in case you didn't hear that, in the Discord, under the resources section, there's a GitHub link for it. So if anyone wants to see more detail, you can go there if you want. Yep.
When you did the DO attack,
Yep.
so the flag A is the router, then flag C is your computer?
My phone. I should be probably more specific on that. So essentially, you've got to specify the router, which is where the authentication attacks you're like imitating, essentially like man in the middle. And then you're sending that to my phone in this instance to essentially disconnect from the access point. And then by default, it automatically like reconnects. So when it reconnects, the Wi-Fi adapter is capturing the handshake between the device and the router, like in terms of authenticating. Saves that locally, and after that, you crack the actual password. Does that answer your question? Yep.
I was going to ask as well, where did you find your MAC address?
For that one, that is in. I may have rushed just a bit much. If I go back, so if I go here, so when you do the aero dump, which is basically just detecting the packets in the air, this is the MAC address of the router, and the station is my phone. So that's any client devices. So it could be phone, laptop, or whatever. And in order to essentially reduce the amount of access points in the area that you're detecting, all I did was just specify the MAC address, which is up here. Whereas before we had like all the Flinders stuff as well, which like clutters up. Which I think if I get rid of, say, for example, this, and just put that. Yeah, so these are all the MAC addresses for the different access points. Flinders has already got a lot. And then you can see like the security settings and that. And if I go back, just to go over some stuff, -C in this case refers to the channel of 11, because in 2.4 gigahertz, so generally wireless end in that, 1, 6, and 11, they don't overlap in the frequency. Any other ones like 2, 3, 4, whatever, they can overlap. So if you've got two access points with say channel 2 and 3, it could be interference. So I put mine as 11. I'm guessing Flinders did it as well, because it seems to be a lot. So otherwise you could just remove that, and I think from what I remember, it should just automatically, yeah, it'll go through all of them, all the different channels. So like 1, and yeah, there's a lot there. So yeah, any more questions? If not, oh, yep.
So during the DDoS attack, there's two commands you ran.
Yep.
Could you explain this a little bit more?
Sure. Yep. The two main ones, technically you only really, you kind of need the two. So this is the one I ran. So basically it's using a tool called aerodump-ng with channel 11, the MAC address of the router, and I'm saving the like the capture file to a laptop named PSK using the interface WLAN 0. Then after that, I'm using Air Replay NG. So that essentially sends a predetermined amount of, and as well as a predetermined packet of de-authentication. So like it's the same each time. For that, I probably should explain this before. -0 refers to de-authentication. You can actually send beacon requests. It's like requests to connect rather than requesting a device to disconnect. So there's different options. 10 refers to the amount of packets being sent. Then after that, you've got the MAC address of the actual router, which is using -A. -C is my phone, the station that we're disconnecting from, and then the interface, WLAN 0. Sorry if I skipped over some commands in that. Yeah. Yep. More questions? If that's it, it's basically done, and then you can have a look at recording. And if you're here in person or even online, you could just message in Discord, and I can help you if you want to go through the thing on your own time. Yep, all done.
Cool. We're getting food. So that's going to be in 5 minutes. The delivery guy just went out to grab it. Alistair just went out to grab it. So why didn't we get it delivered? Why didn't it pick up? Oh, okay. Well, it's pick up. So, but if you want to recreate this, right, the first thing you do is make sure that your laptop, your Kali, your Linux, whatever you're using, right? Use Kali, because all the tools are in Kali, the AeroCrack NG. Make sure it's detected, that you can actually see your device first in your distro. That's the very first step, okay? The second step is to actually make sure that you can monitor. You can actually see radio frequencies that you can actually capture that's happening in your thing, okay? Everything after that will be a 5-minute YouTube. But those two things will be the hardest part to get to, right? So, because like you've seen him do, he actually had to do a custom driver on his own device to make it work. Okay, because obviously manufacturers of devices know these things, and they try to patch their software so it's not as easy to use their devices for nefarious stuff. Okay? Cool bananas. Yeah?
On the code that's given on GitHub, just uses password list. Is that stored in Kali by default?
There is one big one. I'm not sure if you know. Well, the lady from the defense knows. There is a big password breach. The biggest one, the RockU file. Okay, it's inside Kali by default. It is still, isn't it? Yeah. But it's currently tarred, or it's currently compressed. So you have to uncompress it. It's a RockU. Just find RockU in your distro. I'm not sure exactly where it is, but it will be a big password file. Just remember, the bigger your password list would be, the longer it is to crack a password, right? That's why for me myself, to crack a password, I use Hashcat, right? Because my computer, I have a GPU. I have 3 GPUs on my computer, and Hashcat can use GPUs to crack passwords, right? Rather than using a CPU, okay? Yes?
So you need to tunnel it to virtual machine as well?
No, I use
Install directly on
yeah. My Linux is on. I'm using Ubuntu, so it's directly on my bare metal. Yeah. Questions? No, nothing. Everyone's understood everything. So intelligent. Cool. All right. So.